Anyway, our next guest has been doing regular video updates. He's out in Germany for the Telegraph with his colleague Matt Law. And the little video pieces.
Nice.
Knockabout chat, bit of football.
Mm-hmm.
Today we found them in toweling robes.
Oh.
I don't quite know what the
circuit... how to feel about that.
They're both sitting there in their little slippers and their toweling robes.
Oh, nice.
It's all going a bit strange.
Have they stolen them from the last hotel they've been in?
I think they probably have, yeah. The Telegraph will get billed for them.
They get a bill from you.
They'll get called in by accounts. Mike McGrath, of course, joins us. Hello, Mike.
Hello, Mike.
I can explain. They are the hotel robes, but we were trying to kind of illustrate how England are on a rest day today. So we were kind of having our own mini spa morning art.
Oh, did you have your hair in a towel as well and that sort of thing? You know.
Yeah, hotel slippers and all that.
I sometimes like it when it's too short.
Spas.
The hotel
towel is too short.
The hotel robe's too short.
Yeah, that's never a good look, is it? Really,
never a good look.
Basic instinct. So where were we? Yes, football. Come on, you Spars, as I said there, and. Maybe Archie Gray's not a bad place to start. Talk about make you feel old. I saw his granddad play, Mike. It's a shocker. But an interesting bit of business by Spurs. Another young player. That's obviously a route they're taking. There are some Tottenham fans saying we kind of need players for the now as well as the future. But I think he's proved in the Championship that he can cut it, and he will get a fair bit of game time this season.
Yeah. Huge potential. He's been playing at right back, but I think he'll end up in midfield. And some really strong performances last season, getting to the playoff final. Looks very, very good on the ball. I think it's a kind of classic Daniel Levy bit of business. I think £30 million with the potential for some real good resale value later down the line. He's being only 18. Interesting. He's a big Celtic fan actually. So Big Ange, I think, had a bit of a say in him choosing Spurs because there was a bit of interest, wasn't there, over the weekend with Brentford.
Dewsbury Hall's been confirmed in the last sort of half hour or so to Chelsea. And again, Maresca knows him. He obviously rated him, seeing him play at Leicester, and it looks like a good bit of business for Chelsea.
Yeah, they moved really quickly because Brighton looked like they were ahead of that race. Like you say, Enzo Maresca knows him. I think looking at this deal is interesting as well. What might happen as a knock-on effect, because he is kind of in that Conor Gallagher position. Carney Chukwuemeka as well is a talent that they've got there, but whether Chelsea might look at some outs as well, because it looks like he'll be competing for a first team place in that kind of advanced role, ahead of Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez.
Be interesting with him actually to see if he can step up to that level. We've heard his name for a while, and he's been playing.
Well, I mean, he has
really well.
He has played well in the Prem before.
I mean, he's played well for Leicester in the Prem, hasn't he? So to see if he can take the step up to play in the top six.
I think he looks a player. I think he'll be good for them. Now Manchester United have got Dan Ashworth in at last, and they're looking to do a bit of business. Matthias de Ligt they've been linked to as a potential signing, and also to play alongside him, Jared Branthwaite as well. But I think they're going to up the money a bit from Everton's point of view if they want to get anywhere close to signing him.
Yes, United have got technical director, sporting director in, and looks like they're going to go for one of Ten Hag's old players at Ajax again. So he knows him. Ten Hag does know him from Ajax and playing with him, and there is a sizable gap there to fill because of Raphael Varane's departure. So Branthwaite is obviously been one that they've bid for already, and de Ligt a bit of work to do on the deal, but certainly it's one that they'd like to do if they can.
Now we're looking at the Euros, and I was thinking, we were talking Romania earlier on, and signing players from a tournament. It's not like it used to be, Mike, because you never used to see these players from one year to the next. They weren't playing in. And you didn't get the TV coverage you get now.
No, yeah.
So you'd see a player at a tournament, think, wow, he's good.
Who's he?
We could sign him. And that was kind of true at Tottenham when we signed Ili Dumitrescu, which was frankly an utter disaster. He was brilliant in the tournament for Romania in '94. But it's like a holiday romance, isn't it? It's like when you're out there in Magaluf, it's slightly different. But when in the cold light of day in the North London, when it's drizzling, they don't look quite the same.
Quite the same thing.
But there are some players that people are getting very interested in. But there are obviously players that we all know about, including Nico Williams, who I think is likely to leave Bilbao. But there'll be no shortage of takers, and those Premier League sides that were after him will have to form an orderly queue, you would think.
Yeah, I mean, he's at Bilbao. They actually don't make it easy for players to leave Bilbao at all. But and also he will be very expensive in terms of wages. But he's done nothing but enhance his reputation over here with some of the goals and some of the kind of actions that he's been involved in, Nico Williams. And he's got a release clause as well, which is fairly low. I could see those wages though being quite difficult to match for what he wants. I think Barcelona are out of the race for that reason. But certainly there is the possibility that he could be the Poborski of this tournament and get a move off the back of that. Along with, I think some of the Slovakian players were really impressive the other night.
Yeah, that's right. Another one is Joshua Kimmich, that's been linked potentially with the link up again to Pep at City. He enjoyed working under him in his time at Bayern. But Liverpool, Barcelona, Real Madrid all showing an interest. He's always a player that you thought I'd like to see him in the Premier League. Yeah,
he's. I think there's a year left on his deal rather than a free. But he is expected to move this summer, and there will be no shortage of interest in him. I think even as far as Saudi Arabia as well would have a name like him on. Would love to have a name like him. But Pep Guardiola obviously has worked with him during his years at Bayern Munich and knows exactly what he could do. And he seems. He kind of molds players like Rico Lewis into that kind of Kimmich style. So he clearly loves that type of player and has worked with him before.
Anyone connected to Mamardashvili at all, the Georgian keeper? I mean, he's 23, 6'6". He had a brilliant tournament, I thought. I know he plays at Valencia, but I don't know if anyone's connected to him at all, Mike.
Yeah, there's Newcastle have been looking at keepers, but I just think that the price for him would be 30 plus, which is is a lot and was too much for Newcastle, who went for the Nottingham Forest guy in the end. But clearly he's highly rated and at that size as well. And he could be one that others could look at in the future.
Yeah, apparently it's gone up, Mike, since we've been talking. The London Evening Standard suggesting £35 million, Liverpool and Chelsea showing an interest in him, because he was great for Georgia, wasn't he? And now a couple of other players. One's Anthony Gordon. This story emerged the other day and there was a couple of stories emanating from some boys in the England camp that Anthony Gordon thought Newcastle had to do a rush deal. They couldn't get that deal over the line, around PSR. So there was this feeling that he was offered to Liverpool very late on. And having started out there as a kid, he was quite keen on the move. And there is a slight concern that he could have had his head turned a little bit by this, and it may not go away.
Yeah, I mean, the story was really interesting. That obviously Newcastle did have to balance the books last week. I think they did so in terms of the Minter deal and also Anderson going to Forest. So I don't think there's no longer the immediate emergency sale that they need. But certainly Anthony Gordon, a Liverpool fan, I think, as well, and Luke Edwards in my paper has reported that there are fears that he could, like you say, have his head turned, and it'll be interesting to see how he reacts to that when he gets back for pre-season.
And finally, Adrien Rabiot of France. We've been watching him, and he's now a free agent. His contract is up. He kind of effectively left Juve on the 30th of June. But if you're interested, you've got to deal with his mum.
Okay.
Veronique, she's his agent. She's been his agent throughout his career.
Okay, your mummager.
And she doesn't mess about. She drives a hard bargain, and she lets you know if she thinks you're taking the mickey out of her boy.
Yeah, there's been a bit of history there. Some reported bust-ups down the years, I think, with some of the other French camp parents in the French cap. And he'll be an interesting free, but there haven't been many frees been done yet. I think there's still quite a lot of work to do on those out of contract players. Even De Gea has gone a year without a club, I think that'll come later in the window really, rather than now. I think they were getting the PSR deals done over the weekend.
Yeah, apparently there was some talk about Manchester United with him at one point. I don't know if that will be rekindled or not.
Okay.
But I'm sure a few other players will pop up at the tournament that people will be wanting to sign. But for now, Mike, we will catch up with you soon. Appreciate you joining us. Thanks very much.
Cheers, Mike.
See you soon.
There we are, Mike McGrath, looking at some of the transfer stories of the day. You can go and check that out, talksport.com. We've got all the breaking rumours and all the big stories, and all the done deals are there, explanations of those. talksport.com.
Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs, Monday to Friday afternoons 1 till 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.